Welcome, everyone. This is Sonia Dudley, Diamond Ambassador, and Helen McFadden, Diamond Ambassador. And we're really excited because it is week 5 of our What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, this awesome book we're all reading. And we're just really enjoying the group page that we have, that everyone is just really showing their growth. You're being very vulnerable with your obstacles, with your challenges, and to be able to watch you guys overcome. And it's just like when we started 4 or 5 weeks ago to today, just the whole, just the growth from you guys, it's just phenomenal. And so our hope and prayer is now that, we've had Super Saturday, so we have our new starter kits that are amazing. Like, oh my gosh, you should feel totally equipped. I mean, I looked at that thing, just thumbing through it today, and I'm like, this thing is meaty. It is meaty. It's a beefed up, amazing outline of what we need to do to be successful. So now that, our new people and ourselves have the tools we need, the hardest part is the mind. And we're working on that. We're almost finished with that. We're almost finished with the book, let me say. There's a lot to come to overcoming your challenges in your mind that has been your negative programming your entire life. So it is going to be a daily journey for a long time. But we are on week 5, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Helen, did you want to say anything before I just dive right in?
Well, yes, thank you for that awesome introduction. I know we were just talking about how just feeling equipped now, between this book and the starter kit, we have everything, all the tools we need to be successful in Plexus. And my heart aches for the people who dropped out of this class. I mean, we started out, I mentioned this the last Zoom, there's people that aren't going to complete this class. And so I'm just going to be really curious. I think we should keep the group open, and I think we should continue to stay in touch, because once, like Sonia said, we're done with the book, but the real work begins. The reprogramming is layers and layers and layers of days and weeks and months of continued affirmations and being specific and refine tuning and discovering new things maybe that you were holding you back, and starting new affirmations, things like that. And so I think it's a wonderful experiment we're here doing. I'd love to see those of you who are still engaged in this class to see your progress by the end of the year, and how this will directly impact your rank move-ups and your ability to lead your team and all your income-producing activities that you're going to do more consistently now because of your reprogramming. So I'm just excited, and I'm really proud of all of you who have stuck this out and are still engaged and more excited about your business than ever.
Same here. Thank you, Helen. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about changing habits. Chapter 16 talks about changing habits. And, we are a creature of habit. And I know we all know that. And we all can think of a time in our life when we have created a new habit that stuck. Why are you, why are you a person now who loves to eat healthy and you wouldn't touch certain foods? Well, that didn't just happen. You had to create that habit. And maybe, there's people in my life that I know, friends, that I look at that used to be like never maybe exercised at all, like hated it. And now for the last 5 years, 10 years, like since I've known them, say for 20 or 30 years, the last 10 years, they're exercise freaks. Well, they used to not be, but they developed a habit, and it took time. So I think our habits say a lot about our discipline and about what we're willing to do to create a long-term life-sticking habit. So on page 150, he talks about all habits are the result of our previous conditioning, things we learned to do, then practiced until they become what seem to just be natural behavior as well. They are not natural at all. We weren't born with any of them. They are habits, negative programs that stuck, and all of them can be replaced with a new program. So that's the great news to me. Like, we all have struggles, and being consistent in exercising for me, consistent, that is one of my struggles. So that is definitely a big part of my affirmations have to do with that. I want to be the person who, it's such a habit that even though I travel a lot, I can still do it in traveling. And so I'm incorporating that in my affirmations. You know, my affirmations include the word, how easy it is to exercise while traveling. That's just one of about 10. So I want you to understand that you can change your habits. So in this chapter, if you turn to page 152, he talks about how important it is to keep your your self-talk about this in the present tense. When you say things like, I am going to, or tomorrow, or some other time, or I'm going to lose weight in the future, but I'm going to, I need to, I will, I should, I'd like to, I want to, I wish I could. All those words you do not need to use those words in affirmations. They're not present tense. What it does is your subconscious doubts because it's in the future. It says because the subconscious mind does not know what is true and what is not, in time, it will accept what you're telling it and act on it. So it's very important that you use some of the wording under here, like I always do everything. I never argue or let my emotions work against me. I have, I am, I never spend more, I set goals. So present tense. So that's something I really want you to make a note of right now is present tense. Okay? All right. Getting specific. You just have to be very specific on your goals. You can't say, I no longer crave sweets, and that be the only thing you say about something that has such a stronghold on you. It's going to take more than one statement to release that. So Helen's going to address that a little bit later in our homework, but we need more than one affirmation about the things we really struggle with. So, goodness, I love how specific he is. On page 159, positive self-talk for freedom from worry. And if any of you are worriers, there are some powerful affirmations on page 159 and 160 about that specific topic. Boy, boy, boy. So to change the habits, you must change your words. And he says, choose a habit you would like to change and don't try to change it overnight. Start with a minor habit, something small, then change the words which describe yourself to you. I love how, to me, it's so empowering to know that I don't have to know how to become a consistent exerciser, but that all I have to do is create words and affirmations surrounding that, and my internal programming will figure it out. And then my behavior will reflect that. I love that. To me, that's very empowering. So, all right, Helen, on to chapter 17.
Okay, awesome stuff. All right, so I get to talk about chapter 17, which is all about attitude. And of course, there's the saying, your attitude determines your altitude. Remember that one, Sonia?
Oh.
We have a lot of those. But he writes here, without the right attitudes, we will never have the key that unlocks the treasure chest of happiness and success we so badly want and richly deserve. So without the right attitude, we cannot have what we so desire and deserve. So, our attitudes propel us forward toward our victories, or they bog us down in defeat. And, it's either positive or it's negative. There is no gray area with an attitude. Did y'all know that? Fear and faith are the two sides of the same coin. In other words, you're either operating out of faith or you're operating out of fear. Well, the same goes for an attitude. You either have a good attitude or a bad attitude. There is no, oh, he has kind of like a wishy-washy, if he's sort of positive, sort of negative. I mean, no, it's either or. And so I like to use the saying too, oftentimes we need to take a checkup from the neck up to determine what our attitude is. And it can be about so many things in life. Like we might overall have a good attitude, but with certain areas of our life, we might find that we actually have a bad attitude about that. So that's why as we're digging deep, like when Sonia was talking about all the different, ways that you can be specific and talk in the present tense about your self-talk, is to really figure out where you struggle. Because again, you can have an overall, you can think you're real positive about Plexus, but then you've been negative about maybe the back office, or maybe about, and I get it, we got to keep it real too, but overall, we got to be thinking all those little attitudes add up to our overall attitude, right? Yeah. So how to change an attitude, what's really interesting too, and I want to just briefly mention this. He talks about on page 163, don't expect to change someone else's attitude with a carrot or a stick. In other words, a carrot would be like dangling, like a little prize or something, or a stick meaning, and I think there's even a section here where he talked about with our kids, or anybody, we should say, you need to change your attitude. Well, that in itself is self-deflating, because you're automatically recognizing that person has a bad attitude, and then it'll just add into their self-talk that they do. And so we have to be careful with how we are telling other people if they need an attitude adjustment, an AA, what I like to call it. If you use an incentive or one kind or another to change an attitude, it may appear to work, but the effect won't last. You will find yourself needing to resupply another incentive each time the previous incentive wears off. So when Sonia and I, we were talking about this call and what, who was going to go over each chapter, we recognize this in our leadership, is that we do not, and for those of you who are on our closer levels and you're in our team page and, when we have contests, we truly do not hold, as many of you know, consistent contests. We feel like when we do, it should be impactful and something really exciting, but not like the thing that people look to work for every single month. We feel like your why and your love for helping other people in both health and wealth should be enough. And that's part of, kind of our whole experience and our knowledge we brought into Plexus, because I'm going to tell you what, we incentivized to death in our other business. And I mean to death. Like it didn't do anything for our business. Now, I'm not saying, you have to know, I'm not saying they don't work, but what I'm saying is you can't expect, I don't want people to think they need to work for a prize to get where they want to go in Plexus. I want them to be motivated by a great attitude and an appreciation for this opportunity. And the gift we have every single day to go and share Plexus with other people. That in itself should be exciting enough, not just a certain incentive or whatever the carrot could be dangled in front of them for that particular month. Then it's way more impactful when we do have a contest. So I just kind of wanted to give a little side note, really thinking about your businesses and your why and your purpose and what motivates you, and your attitude should be always, I don't have to, I get to in Plexus, right? Did you want to add anything to that, Sonia? Because I know we kind of talked a little bit about that.
I just one simple thing. I just wanted to say, if working for a trip to Hawaii and the contest that the company does and the Lexus and time freedom, and that, if that's not enough, then, I don't know. People need to really look at their why. I don't have anyone. I mean, Helen doesn't run a contest for me to work. I love what I do. And yes, at this point, I'm blessed with the car and the trips, but I wasn't, and I had to work for it, but it didn't take, I was motivated by that, by the trip and the car and being home again. I was motivated by that. So yeah, I think it's just our culture too. We can't, huh? And quitting my
Being
job.
able
Yeah,
was
quit.
a huge motivation.
I wanted to be my own boss. That was a huge motivation for me. Being my own boss was probably one of the most motivational things. So, yeah, I'm so glad we covered this chapter. And we do contests, but they're far and few between. And when we do them, they're usually great and big and usually around finishing up a convention thing or something, but we rarely do them. So, thank you for bringing that up.
I love it. Yeah. It's all about just having that can-do attitude and self-motivated, instead of working for a trinket or something other than the purpose of why we're in Plexus. We all love that feeling, that text message we get when somebody's lives have been changed financially or their life has been saved or whatever. I mean, it's crazy over the top blessings we get to be the recipient of by sharing these products. And that should motivate us enough. So on the bottom of page 164, I highlighted here, programming creates beliefs, beliefs create attitudes, and this is kind of just recapping, but we can't hear it enough, right? Belief creates attitudes, attitudes create feelings, feelings determine actions, and actions create results. Each of those steps, behavior, feelings, attitude, and beliefs, is the logical and expected result of our conditioning. It follows then that every attitude we have, good, bad, or indifferent, is the natural result of the programming that preceded it. So this is a big component to our, just our whole reprogramming and recognizing how this is going to affect our attitude. Changing attitudes in yourself. I'll kind of just briefly, just kind of skip over that because we have 2 more chapters to cover. I did highlight on page 166, self-talk for taking responsibility for yourself, because I think that's so relevant in Plexus and what we're doing, and not blaming your upline, your downline, your sideline. There's not enough support. There's my town is transient or special, then I can't get anybody to come to a meeting, or nobody wants to try it, it's too expensive. I mean, we have heard it all, have we not? Have we not?
Yeah.
And I will tell you, for every person that says it can't be done because of this particular circumstance, there is somebody else out there doing it. That is tough love 101 for y'all, okay? There's always going to be somebody who goes out and does it anyway. Yeah. And why? Obviously, they have an attitude like, I'm going to go over, around, under, through, get out of my way. I will find a way, make a way, and get this done. So I love taking responsibility and for yourself, because then when you get that rank move up, the next rank, you own it. You did it. You figured out a way to make it happen. So these affirmations, if something's striking a nerve with you all, just know, then read these affirmations or create some of your own to make it relevant to you. But oh my gosh, it's huge. On page 169, the self-talk for building self-esteem. Another big one. If we don't feel good about ourselves, how can we make other people feel great? And we are in the business of helping other people to feel great. Sonia and I have the gift of, when we do events and when we meet people and we can tell them that we believe in them, oftentimes people will tell us, no one has ever said that to me before. Like, words are powerful, but if you don't own it, you can't give it away. Right. So I just can't say enough about this chapter and just having that attitude, taking your checkup from the neck up daily. This business requires a lot of reflection to make sure that you are making progress within yourself, and to reflect on your team's progress, because it's all going to start with you. All right. I did highlight this, and then I'll turn it over to you, Sonia, on page 171, because this gives me goosebumps. Imagine children growing up with those kind of words indelibly instilled in their believing, eager young minds. Imagine the world they could create. But for today, for now, just imagine beginning to believe the very best about yourself each day, all the time, in any circumstance, always being sure of attitudes that support you, give you faith, prop you up, and give you the courage and the conviction to live a life in its most fulfilling, most positive way. Like, I'm going to cry. Like, that is so powerful. And that's what can happen when you get your reprogramming down and your attitude checked up from the neck up and fixed and
so good.
Positive all the time. No time for negative.
All that stuff. So good, Helen. So good. Such good meat. Oh, my goodness. Well, it leads me into solving
That's steak.
problems.
That's steak.
Do what?
I said, that's steak. That ain't no little shrimp. That's a
Yeah,
big beefy piece of
that is. There's a lot of meat in that chapter, for sure. Well, chapter 18 is talking about solving problems and accomplishing goals. And, I was telling Helen, I said, I remember when I was reading this chapter, I remember now that this was the book that 20 something years ago when I read this book, this is where I got the thought of, like, all through the years, every time I would hear someone say, I've got this major problem, I'd be like, why don't you say you have a challenge? It just sounds better. Have a challenge. You can work through a challenge. Like, I remember saying that my whole grown up life. And so it's fun to have seen that again and went, oh yeah, that's where I got this from 20 something years ago, and it stuck with me. But when we say to ourselves, I've got a problem, I need to talk to you about a problem. I've got all these problems happening. That's such a negative word to us that's what our mind hears. And then certainly we feel like we have a problem. Instead of saying problem, if we can start saying challenge, it makes our subconscious mind feel like it has a way out, that it can actually overcome. We can overcome challenges more than we can overcome a problem. Doesn't it sound better? So I think that it's very important that we start picking up on that when we hear someone say all the problems they have. Let's help ourselves and them say challenge. Just by understanding that the subconscious mind recognizes, accepts, and acts on problems in the exact same way that it helps us reach our goals, we can change in a positive way how we look at many of those things in our lives that we have been told that are natural circumstances of life, which, when overcome, automatically and naturally result in the achievement of goals. You cannot solve a problem without reaching an objective. Oh, so meaty. So meaty. All right. Talking about goals. Goals don't have to be huge. A goal can be, I just want to be more consistent in exercising. I want to attend church more regularly. I want to eat healthier every day. That can be goals. It's on page 176. He says, your goals and the problems standing between you and the goals can be anything at all, large or small, but your subconscious mind deals with all of them in the same matter of fact and accepting way. So if you want to achieve them, give yourself the right directions and the right words. Take advantage of your own mind's natural dedication to do for you what you tell it most. So I love that. It doesn't matter how big or how small. Just be sure that the words are correct. And what we believe about the problems we encounter in any given day, that's what our mind, it's what we tell our mind. It does not know the difference in reality and truth or false. So set the goals and trust that if you're giving it the right words of life every day, just trust that you'll reach the goal. Quit fighting it. Quit questioning it. Just do it. And Helen, in our homework, is going to go over how to specifically do it. There's a lot of great books. We were talking about this. There's a lot of great books on network marketing and how to do and how to overcome objections and time management. But those books, if you've noticed, you've probably read a lot of those and you're still trying to achieve your goals. There's great information in those books. There's great information. I love them all. I've probably read most of them. But until you fix the internal issue, the mind, what you believe, the programming, it's going to be hard for you to receive what's in those books. So doesn't it make more sense to get this fixed so that all the other things that you attend, the conventions you go to, the trainings you go to, the books you read will be much better received? I think so. I firmly believe that. So, Helen, there's a lot more in this chapter, but due to time, I'm going to, and we've got 15 minutes for sure we can spend. I think we have 20 left on the recording. So, but I'm going to turn it over to you on 19 because there's a lot in 19.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then feel free to jump in because what Sonia and I really recognize. I'm getting back.
You are?
Kind of a weird connection. Okay. What Sonia and I recognize about this about internal motivation. This is probably the single most important chapter in this entire book, relevant to what we do. Because we don't have a boss. We are our own boss. We jump out of bed every day, and it's up to us what we're going to do.
Helen, you're kind of
yeah, see, I'm getting.
Yeah, when you go into a muffled talk, is your internet good? I mean, the bars look the same on your computer?
I have full bars right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm on. Let's see. Yep, I'm on my right internet provider. It's better now, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Sonia and I, we were talking about just the importance of this chapter. And I think this chapter needs to be really, really ingrained in your brain big time. When you go back or when you're done with this book, I would strongly encourage you to go back and read and reread this, because it's up to us. And you know, we can go to all the self-improvement course, you know, all the things that we can do, read all the books in the world. But when at the end of the day, it's up to us to be internally motivated to have the life we want, that we dream about. On page 188, it talks about that the most common form of motivation is the external kind, when we rely on something outside of us to pat us on the back, nudge us, persuade us, or kick us in the behind to get us to go ahead and do what we already knew we should be doing in the first place. So if we need that, we're going to have a team that needs that. Wouldn't it be great to have a team that were self-starters? Don't we say that? I know, like when Sonia and I did the John Maxwell 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership, we wrote down, one of the chapters had us write down all the qualities we wanted in our team members. And one of mine was, I want a self-starter. I shouldn't have to like motivate my team constantly, because again, what's your why? Your why should be the driver of, you know, and sometimes, you know, we have to remember too, the pain of staying the same is much stronger than the pain of regret. So we have to remember, like Sonia's motivator was, I don't want to work Saturdays anymore and commute an hour every day. You know, so we have to be very clear on what motivates us internally, because it's not anyone's job. Now, are we in a business that we're going to have cheerleaders and great upline and the support of Plexus to, you know, convention and Super Saturday? Yes, but we can't go from event to event. I mean, what do? Think about this. We don't have anything from now until June. So if we are looking for constantly people to motivate us, and I get it, sometimes we get in a slump. I get it. We're all human. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that like literally feel like they need those events to stay motivated. It's a perk. It's wonderful. It's great to be with our team, celebrate our success, but that shouldn't be the end all be all as to how we move up in our business. So moving on, page 189, I highlighted here, if you would like to be in control of the forces in your life which influence and affect everything you do, then you most certainly would like to be in control of your own motivation. And I know it's not good to be a control freak, I guess, but if this is one area in your life we give you permission to be a control freak in, is to be your own motivator. Be so motivated, like in control of your own self-motivation. Would that not be a great thing? The problem is that most of us learn to rely now on external motivation when we should be learning self-reliance instead. People who are the most successful at whatever they do are those who are their own best motivators. They stand on their own feet, walk in the direction of their own choosing, and put themselves in charge of their own successes. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that ultimately what we want? We want to be able to jump out of bed every day and have effortless, go about our business effortlessly to help change lives and to build others up, and all the things that we should be spending time on versus self-doubt and wallowing and the self-pity and the excuses and all that kind of stuff. On page 192, he talks about this is the self-talk that will give your subconscious mind a new set of directions, which will help you motivate yourself in every area or any area of your life. And we go on, let's see, there's, little over 2 pages of all the affirmations that really you should be doing. I think this is one of those things that it's common for everybody, because we are in a business where we're not clocking in 9 to 5. And oftentimes people will say to Insan, what do you guys do every day? Or what do you do like to stay motivated and all this? So these are great affirmations that I strongly suggest. There's 16 of them that you copy yourself and do, or tweak a little bit to make them your own. Super, super powerful stuff. On page 195, he talks about too, because it is so different, right? Don't worry if at first you feel strange or uncomfortable talking to yourself in a new way. Unless you are already a practiced self-talker, it should feel a little strange. After all, you're giving your old programming quite a shock. It's probably not used to hearing a nonstop description of a new, incredible you. The more you do it, the easier it's going to become. But that's why this is such a process. This is why this is not going to be an overnight thing, because see, your old programming is going to be saying, who are you? This is ridiculous. This sounds so silly, right? That's old programming. That's just the negative part of you that we have to cancel, bury, over and done with forever and ever and ever. On page 196, just when your subconscious thinks you're through, don't let up, don't give it some more. And this time, start by making the conscious decision to demand that the internal you listens very carefully. And so this is where you got to get really tough on your subconscious. And just, these are super, super powerful. I mean, this is victory. All these statements are victorious, statements. And why not? Why not feed your brain this? Okay, so here's the thing that I am so excited about. And I want you to really think this through and get excited with me. On page 198, Olympic athletes use self-talk to motivate themselves to gold medal performances. Even some high school and professional athletes use self-talk in exactly the same way and with the same winning results. The words change, but the message and the internal motivation it creates is the same. We still need the team captain and the coach, but with the right kind of self-talk, we make their jobs and the winning achievements we create a whole lot easier. I doubt that I could find a single coach. I doubt that I could find a single diamond who would not jump at the chance of having an entire downline, I'm changing the words here, of self-motivated self-talkers. Dozens of sport organizations already use self-talk techniques. When used correctly, the result is the kind of superior performance that creates a winning team. So I could say, I doubt I would ever meet a gold or a senior gold. Well, you guys are all senior golds and above. Or a ruby, or a senior ruby, or an emerald, or sapphire that wouldn't want their entire downline to be practicing this self-talk. Can you imagine? We already know, right? If we were to change the self-talk in our home, the impact for our children. So what if we could change the self-talk for our entire teams? Everybody needs to be reading this book. Yeah. Everybody needs to get that this component is critical to your success, because all of it won't matter if we don't have that deserve level and starting up here and then it comes out. It all starts here. And how is it coming out? What are we affirming today? Most of your team is going to be negative. That's just how I wish it wasn't that way. And that's why this book is such a aha, because we realize for us, so imagine your whole team using this book. Think about that. And so it's very, very exciting. I hope you all are very excited. just to kind of wrap up, and I'll turn it over to Sonia. Getting up when things get down on page 199, I recommend that those organizations which rely on salespeople to present and sell their products or services add self-talk training to their existing training programs. So here we go. We got the new starter kit, and now we're implementing this. It's an easy step to take, but its effects can be profound. And that's this book. The effects of this book with our starter kit and what we can do, we're going to be unstoppable, right? He goes on to give some selling, the affirmations that are representative for self-talk on selling, which are really relevant to us and sharing. I know we share, not sell, but still relevant. And then I'll just kind of close by saying there is a sleeping giant within us on page 202. It seeks and needs the light that never fails, the motivation that comes from us. If we feed it each day in just the right way, it will become a part of us, which will conquer our fears, slay the dragons, and carry us onto our victories. It is a magical genie of untold powers, impatiently waiting for its release. It is the essential self-fulfilling part of each of us. It has been waiting a long time for us to tell it what to do. Go ahead, indulge yourself. Give yourself an exciting treat. Let the giant loose. Tomorrow morning, wake it up.
I know, right? So right above that, I had highlighted, there is a vital part of each of us that is anxiously awaiting for us to tell it that it's okay to go ahead and achieve. That's what it wanted to do all along. And the proof of that is when you're a child, you think you can be and do anything. Remember? I thought I could fly when I was 3 and tried to fly off the bed and move my arms to flap. That's the proof right there. That's what it wanted to do all along. All it needed was a few new words. Wow. And then you go on to read the rest of it, which was like just amazing. So, I mean, I don't care if people are in business or just existing in this life. I think everyone needs this book. So, Helen, I'm going to let you, because you wrote down the homework that we discussed, and I'm going to let you review the homework. I know we're meeting back here I know we're recording this, but Sunday night, we're going to be covering 2 chapters instead of 4. We're going to be covering 20 and 21. So be ready for that. We're excited.
2026. All right, so because it's a short week, because today's Wednesday, and we're meeting again on Sunday, your challenge is to have 2 perfect plexus power days. I can't hear you, Sonia. Say it again.
I didn't say anything, but you're very unstable.
Okay. So I wanted to read something here that has to do with, okay. So back to the first chapter that Sonia covered, I just wanted to kind of reiterate, because this goes along with your assignments that we're going to give you, is that self-talk is a specific set of concisely worded directions, usually a group of a dozen or more combined phrases linked together on the same subject, which jointly paint a detailed picture of the better you, which you would like to become, or the change in your life that you would like to create. So what we were noticing, there's just like anywhere from like 11 to 15 grouped sayings that will, be relevant to whatever, your challenge is. So what we thought, because there's, there could be many, many things in your life that you need to reprogram and work on your self-talk for. So what we just wanted to challenge you to do was just to write them all out. It can be anywhere from, self-starting, discipline, exercise, money management, time management, organization, skills, any of those kind of things. And we just thought it would be good if you took the top 3 and you created at least 10 group sayings, the specific group of combined phrases linked together on the same subject, which jointly paint a detailed picture of the better you, which you would like to become, or the change in your life you'd like to create. So pick 3 and work on about 10 or more for each of those topics. And then just chart your progress as you feel those things, areas in your life that you become more disciplined or you are exercising more, whatever the issue is, then you can always add in another area of your life. But I feel like the top 3 will really help you with your, it could be the driver for the other areas in your life then to be even better. So just, again, reevaluating, reassessing, and things like that. But that's pretty much your assignment, just by Sunday to really work and fine tune 3 specific. And they have to be detailed. It can't just be for exercise. I ride my bicycle every day now for 20 minutes. It can be like, I love putting out my exercise clothes the night before with my, socks and shoes and being prepared. I love waking up every morning ready to exercise. I love to exercise. I love to run every day for 20 minutes. It has to be real specific to what your challenge is. I no longer have any bad feelings about walking in my neighborhood. I have a walking power partner now. I mean, whatever you feel would help you. So be really, 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 really specific. And having 10 or more obviously will allow you to be specific. Okay. So top 3, and then we'll meet back, like Sonia said, on Sunday night, and we'll go over chapters 20 and 21. And between now and then, have 2 perfect Plexus Power Days, or PPP. All right.
Awesome. All right. We'll get the recording up. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the week. Make it a great week.
Make it a great week. Love y'all.
Oh, let's see. Uh-oh. I'm still on, and it went away, and I don't know. I think, Helen, when you went away, I don't know how to stop the recording because it went away. Hold on just a second. So we're still on. There we are. Stop recording.